Hello everyone. In this presentation I am going to discuss the term structure of interest rate. Let us first understand the shape of a yield curve. Yield curve shows the relationship between the rate of interest and term to maturity. There are three probabilities for the shape of a yield curve. Yield curve could be upward sloping, it could be downward sloping, and it could be a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. Here we can see the shape of a yield curve. The yield curve is upward sloping curve, which is showing that in the first year the returns are 2%. For the second year returns are 4%. So the yield curve is upward sloping curve. When the yield curve is downward sloping, which shows that the first year the return was 4% and the second year the return was 2%. So it is a downward sloping curve. The third figure shows the yield curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis that shows that return is 2% for both first year and second year. Default risk premium. It is a very important concept in the financial market. We all know that there are two types of investment. One is the investment which is very safe and the returns are fixed, and another one is the investment which are risky and that promises you higher return. So take an example of a government bond. We all know that government bonds are less risky because the returns on the government bonds are fixed. But if we take example of a corporate bond, the corporate bonds are risky. Therefore, it promises you the higher returns. Because you are taking a risk to invest in a corporate bond, so for taking that risk you should get some extra reward. That is the premium which you are getting to take a risk by investing in a corporate bond. So the yield curve for a corporate bond lies above the yield curve of a government bond, and the extra amount what the corporate bond is giving you is the default risk premium. Let us see the theories of term structure of interest rates. There are three theories for the term structure of interest rate. First is the expectations hypothesis, second is the segmented market hypothesis, and third is the preferred habitat hypothesis. Let us first discuss the expectations hypothesis. Expectations hypothesis states that long-term interest rates are an average of a short-term interest rates expected to prevail during the life of long-term assets. Assumptions of expectations hypothesis are: investor view a series of short-term bond as a perfect substitute for a long-term bond. Investor has a choice between either purchasing a long-term bond that has a maturity of 2 years or purchasing a 1-year bond, and when it matures use the proceeds of the 1-year bond to purchase another 1-year bond. In either case, the investor will have invested funds for 2 years. Next is investors are risk neutral and are not willing to pay any premium to lock in 2 years interest rate. There is no transaction cost. Expectation hypothesis assumes that the cost of buying a 2-year bond is exactly the same as that of buying a series of 1-year bond. Let us see the shape of a yield curves for expectation hypothesis. If the short-term rates are expected to increase, the yield curve are upward sloping. So we can see here for the first year the rate of interest is 2% and for the second year the rate of interest increased to 4%. Therefore the yield curve is upward sloping. Now come to this figure. If the short-term rate are expected to fall, the yield curve is downward sloping. So for the first year the interest rate is 4% and for the second year interest rate has fallen to 2%. So the shape of a yield curve is downward sloping curve. Now for the third figure, if the short-term rates are expected to remain constant, the yield curve is flat. Here we can see for the first year the rate of interest is 2% and for the second year the rate of interest is 2% again. So the shape of a yield curve will be a horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. Expectations, hypothesis and investment decisions. Let us study the returns on short-term and long-term certificate of deposits and investors' decision. So there could be three probabilities. Now, the first is expected return will be higher from purchasing a long-term certificate of deposits rather than purchasing a series of short-term certificate of deposits. So in this case, investor will not purchase short-term certificate of deposits. In the second situation, the expected return will be higher if they purchase a series of short-term certificate of deposits. So in this situation, investor will not purchase long-term certificate of deposits. In the third situation, expected return from long-term certificate of deposit are exactly equal to the series of short-term certificate of deposits. It is the only condition in which bank can sell both the short-term and the long-term certificate of deposits, as investors are indifferent between the two. Investor views short-term and long-term certificate of deposit are perfect substitute and are risk neutral. Let us see the mathematical expression of expectations hypothesis. In expectations hypothesis, investor will be indifferent between a series of 1 year certificate of deposits and n year certificate of deposits. That means he is indifferent between a series of short-term certificate of deposit and a long-term certificate of deposit. So here in this equation, left hand side of the equation shows the total return if investor purchase certificate of deposit that mature in n year and pays an interest rate of I% per year. While the right hand side of the equation shows the expected return if investor purchase a 1 year certificate of deposit that pays I%, reinvest the proceed at the end of the first year in another 1 year that pays you E1I%, reinvest those proceeds at the end of the second year in another 1 year certificate of deposit that pays you E2I, and so on. So for the first year I%, for another year E1I, for another year E2I, and so on. So this is a series of 1 year certificate of deposits, and this is n year certificate of deposit returns. Now IN is the current interest rate on certificate of deposit with n years to maturity. Taking the root on both the sides of the equation, the resultant equation is this for the expectations hypothesis. Let us take the example of expectation hypothesis. Suppose if the current 1 year rate is 4%, expected rate of 1 year certificate of deposit next year is 6%. So the interest rate on 2 year certificate of deposit will be 5%. That is, under expectation hypothesis, the interest rate on n year certificate of deposit IN is approximately equal to the simple average of a current and expected 1 year rate over the life of n year bond. The second theory for the term structure of interest rate is segmented market hypothesis. Segmented market hypothesis assumes that the yield on bond with different maturity are determined independently of one another by the intersection of the supply of and demand for each type of bond. It assumes that bonds with a different maturity are not substitute for one another. The rationale for the segmented market hypothesis is that the investor have preference for financial instruments with a particular term to maturity. Let us see the shape of a yield curve in segmented market hypothesis. So first is the upward sloping yield curve. In segmented market hypothesis, as we all know, that interest rate is decided by the intersection of the demand and supply for loanable fund. So the first year interest rate is 5%, the second year interest rate is 6%. This gives the upward sloping yield curve where the demand and supply of a short-term loanable fund is less than that of a long-term loanable fund. Now let us see the downward sloping yield curve of a segmented market hypothesis. Here also, the interest rate is decided by the intersection of demand for and supply of loanable fund. So for the first year, demand for and supply of loanable fund give the interest rate of 6%. For the second year, the demand for and supply of loanable fund give the interest rate of 5%. Therefore, the shape of a yield curve is downward sloping curve, where the demand and supply of a short-term loanable fund is more than the long-term loan. The short-term rate will exceed the long-term rate, which give rise to downward sloping yield curve. The third situation is the horizontal shape of a yield curve for the segmented market hypothesis, where the demand for loanable fund and the supply of loanable fund for the first year is 6%. For the second year, the demand for and the supply of loanable fund give rise to 6% rate of interest. As a result, the shape of a yield curve will be a horizontal line parallel to x-axis, where the demand and supply of short-term loanable fund is equal to the long-term loanable fund. Criticism of segmented market hypothesis. This theory is often criticized on the ground that it is not very useful in predicting changes in pattern of yield. It states only that changes in preference for loan of a different maturity that will change the shape of a yield curve. This theory also assumes that short-term and long-term interest rate are completely unrelated, but empirical evidence reveals that long-term and short-term interest rate tend to move together. When short-term rate rises, long-term interest rate also tend to rise. Therefore, segmented market hypothesis provides only an incomplete explanation of term structure of interest rates. Now come to preferred habitat hypothesis. This theory is the combination of expected market hypothesis and segmented market hypothesis. It has key feature of both expectations and segmented market hypothesis. In preferred habitat hypothesis, investors have preference for loanable fund of a given term. They are willing to substitute away from their preferred term if they are compensated for doing so. This compensation required to induce investor to purchase an asset with different term to maturity than their preferred term. This is called term premium. To understand the preferred habitat hypothesis and its premium component, let us take the example of compensating wage differentials. Suppose you have to choose job between two locations, job in Bahamas and job in Antarctica. Job description are completely identical. The only difference is the habitat where you have to live. Now, according to expectation hypothesis, you would care only about the expected income from each job. Wage in Bahamas is exactly equal to the wage in Antarctica. So, you are indifferent between the two locations on the basis of the wage. Indifferent between the two jobs. Now, the segmented market hypothesis, you have a preference for one job over the other, independent of the pay differential hypothesis. Preference for a job location would be unwilling to substitute alternative. That is, choice and preference comes in. Now, if you see the preferred habitat hypothesis, you would choose a job in Antarctica if you would be offered premium to work in Antarctica above what you expect to earn in Bahamas. So the premium the company is offering would compensate you for the fact that Antarctica was not your preferred habitat. In labor market, this premium is called as compensating wage differentials. Let us see the preferred habitat hypothesis example in financial markets. Investor will choose bond on the basis of both expected return of the bond and investor's preference for the bond with a particular maturity. An investor will purchase a bond with an undesirable term to maturity only if he or she receives term premium. What is term premium? Term premium is simply the additional yield required to induce the investor to purchase a bond with a term that is not exactly in line with the investor's preference. To write the equation for the term premium, we simply add the term premium amount in the equation of expectations hypothesis. Here, IN is the yield on a bond and AN is the term premium. Yield on a bond is determined by a term premium plus the average of the expected 1 year interest over the life of any bond. The term premium is required to compensate the investor for additional risk or transaction cost involved in purchasing a bond that does not match his or her immediate preference. If you see the segmented market hypothesis, the term premium is infinite as there is no interest rate that one can offer to induce an investor to purchase a bond whose maturity does not exactly match with the investor's preference. But for expectations hypothesis, the term premium is 0. Why? Because the returns are the average of the expected 1 year rates during the long-term bonds. Investors do not require any premium to be willing to hold bonds of different maturities. If you have any question on this presentation, please leave your question in the comment section and like and subscribe my channel to get further notifications. Thank you so much.